Let's get some questions up. So first things first, we're going to just do some ordinary solving of equations. So for example, the first one would be at the end, a equals something. You've got to find the value of the missing letter. That's what solve means. So this one would be b equals something. This will be d equals something, and so on. Notice this has got d on both sides. This is a quadratic. You might need to factorize it into double brackets. You know what's going to be in there. And then solve. Okay, so anyway, pause the video, unpause when you've done as much as you can, please. No more than 5 minutes, though. Okay, unpause. Let's get rid of the writing I've done. First one, we deal with the number touching the letter last. So deal with the 7 with a minus 7 first and do the opposite. So you add 7 to both sides. 17 plus 7 is 24. 7 take away 7 is nothing, so 6a is left on its own. 6 lots of a is 24. So if we split that into 6 equal pieces, we get a equals 4. Right? When you've got a number touching a letter, divide by that number to get the letter on its own. Here, first of all, we've got a fraction. We don't want that. We need to get rid of it. So instead of it being divided by 4, we shall times by 4. That cancels out the divide by 4, so it just sort of disappears. But this side is going to get multiplied, which is 4 7s are 28, so it is 29. Then, a bit like the previous question, we're going to deal with that number on its own first. So take away 5. That leaves 4b on its own, and 29 take away 5 is 24. We don't want 4b, we just want one of them, so we divide by 4. So b equals 6. If you weren't sure about that, just re-watch what I just did. Rewind. This one, d on both sides of the equation. So find the side that's got fewer. Remove that. Now to do that, I'm going to take it away. Just going to take away 5d from both sides, because that will leave no d's on the left. So 4 is left on its own, and 7 take away 5 will leave 2d on the right, and the minus 2 is still there. Then deal with the number touching the letter last. So add 2 first of all to both sides. So this will be 6 equals 2d, because 2 take away 2 leaves nothing. And then divide by that number touching the letter. So d is equal to 3. Over here we've got a fraction, but the fraction is only on the x part, right? There's this number here. That's the one we're going to deal with first. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. This 4 is kind of, I know it's not touching x, but it's just underneath x. So we're going to deal with the other bit first, right? Deal with that 4 last. 5 take away 5 leaves nothing, so x over 4 is left on its own. Minus 9 plus 5 takes us back up to minus 4 or negative 4. This is divided by 4, so we'll do the opposite. Remember, always doing the opposite. We'll times by 4. So x is equal to, well, 4 lots of negative 4 is negative 16. Lastly, quadratic. Right, factorize it. Factor pairs for 8. 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. But when I add them, they need to make 6. Problem is they need to make negative 6. But they need to make positive 8 when they're multiplied. Now these make positive 8 when they're multiplied. 1 times 8 is 8. But when I add 1 and 8, or 2 and 4, I don't get negative 6. Both of these numbers in each pair must be negative. So minus 2 times minus 4 makes positive 8, because negative times a negative makes positive. But if I add them together, I get negative 6. All right, so let's put those in my double brackets. X minus 2, because it's negative 2. And x minus 4, because it's negative 4. Now the answer will be these numbers, but we change the sign is the quick way of doing it. If you want to see the full way, then go back and watch the video about that again. And again, positive 4. If it's negative in the brackets, it'll be positive when you're going for the solution. So x equals 2 or x equals 4. We've got both answers would make this equation work. All right? Okay, not sure about those, as I say, go watch the video again. But otherwise, let's move on. Today we're going to form and solve equations. The equations will generally be a bit easier than some of those, but it's the forming bit that's the tricky bit. So here we are, we've got a shape. I've got an isosceles triangle, and it tells me that that side is 3x. So whatever x is, if I times it by 3, that's the length of the side, and the base is 12. There's no units on this, but it doesn't really matter. Form an expression, so a bit of algebra for the perimeter. Well, the perimeter is all the way around the outside, and normally if they were just numbers, I would add them up. So I do that just with a bit of algebra instead. I do 3x plus 3x plus 12. 3x plus 3x is 6x, and well, plus 12. I can't put that with the 6x. That just is the expression. Yeah, 6x plus 12. And I've simplified it as well. Generally do simplify if you can. Now, the second part of the question, because these nearly always have two parts, it then says the perimeter is 42 centimeters. So the distance around the outside is 42. But hang on, didn't we just work out the perimeter? Yes, we did. So what we're saying is, what we just worked out, 6x plus 12, is equal to 42, because that is also the perimeter. The left-hand side is the perimeter in algebra. The right-hand side is the perimeter in numbers. And then it says find the value of x. This is how these questions usually go. It usually gets you to write an expression, particularly if it's a perimeter question. It then gives you this extra bit of information of what the perimeter actually equals. So you write your expression equals that. Right? If you didn't get that, rewind it, watch it again. Then solve it. Well, this is just like the easy one right at the start. You know, deal with the 6 last. That's touching the x, so deal with it last. So we'll take away 12 from both sides. 42 take away 12 is 50. And then that's 6x. So I'm going to divide it by the 6, which isn't going to be a particularly nice number. I'm going to leave it as a fraction, I think, which is 50 over 6. Well, let's just rewrite that a little bit, I think, as a mixed number. How many 6s in 50? 6 8s are 48. So it's 8. So 6 8s are 48. So there's 2 bits left over. And I could actually simplify that a bit to 8 1/3. That is not really kind of the tricky bit of the question, right? So that's separate. That's mixed numbers. You're not sure about mixed numbers? Again, just go and remind yourself a little bit of that. The important thing here is to make an expression for the perimeter, make an equation where it equals the new piece of information, and solve that. Usually it will give you a nice easy number, a nice round number. In this case, it didn't, but never mind. Okay, I want you to have a go. Your turn. Same thing. Write an expression for the perimeter, then use this bit of information to write an equation, and then solve it to get the value of x. Pause. Really do have a go. Don't just skip this bit. Have a go. See if it matches my explanation. We have unpaused. Form an expression for the perimeter of the shape. Well, that would be all 3 sides added up. 2x plus 2x plus 10, right? It's just the 3 sides as they're written in the question. And then simplify. We'll put the x's together to make 4x and then plus 10. 4x plus 10 is what we're after. Now the perimeter is 34 centimeters. New piece of information. Find the value of x. So take that expression you just wrote and make it equal 34. Well, I don't even make it. I literally just write that it's equal to 34 because both sides are the perimeter. Then solve. Take away 10 from both sides. 10 take away 10 is nothing, so it leaves 4x on its own. 34 take away 10 is 24. And then divide by the 4. I don't want 4x, I only want 1. And there are 6 4s in 24. X is equal to 6. Okay. Form the expression, make the equation, solve it. So form an expression for the perimeter of this shape. Another question, let's try it. Now this time, look, I've got a little bracket here. So actually I need to expand that first of all. I need to do 3 times x to get 3x, and then 3 times -3 to get 9. So sometimes you might have a little bracket. It's worth expanding that to get rid of it before you move on. Now the perimeter is a bit more to it this time, but it's the same thing. I've got that side, I've got that side, and I've got that side, and it just says add them all together. Well, it doesn't say that, but that's what a perimeter is. It's all the sides added together, the total length around the outside. And collect together stuff you can. So 3x plus the 4x plus the 2x makes 7, 8, 9x. And then negative 9, take away 1 is minus 10. Add the 5, takes us back up to negative 5. So 9x minus 5 is my answer there. There's my expression for the perimeter. Then, new bit of information. Oh, let's wipe off some of what I've just written there, because that's a bit annoying. So I've got my expression by adding up the three sides. Now it tells me, new bit of information, this is equal to 49, because the perimeter is actually 49. So write your equation. 9x minus 5 equals 49, and then solve. Let's do plus 5 to both sides. 5, take away 5 is nothing, so 9x is on its own. 49 plus 5 is 54. So 9x is 54. Divide by that number touching x, just get it on its own. And there are 6 9s in 54. So that is my answer. X is worth 6. Again, your go. Again, and this time, yeah, you've got slightly more to work with. Watch out for the negatives and positives. Write the expression, write the equation, solve it. Pause. Okay, unpaused. Form the expression, so it's a bit of algebra, for the perimeter. Add all four sides together. 2x plus 17 plus 3x plus 3x plus 4x, take away 9, equals 2 plus 3 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12x. Then the numbers. I've got 17, and that's positive, so that's ordinary. Take away 9. 17, take away 9 is 8. Just ordinary, positive 8. There we go. 12x plus 8 is my expression. Now, new bit of information. The perimeter is 56, but we also know that 12x plus 8 is the perimeter, and so is 56, so they are equal. And then solve. Take away the 8 from both sides. 12x is left on its own. 56, take away 8 is 48. But that's 12x. I don't want 12x, I only want one of them. So divide by that number touching the letter. How many 12s in 48? There are 4. So that is the value of x in this particular question. Okay. 2 more questions for you to do then. Put all of that into practice. Perimeters, form the expression. Use the new bit of information to form an equation, and then solve it. Pause the video. Unpaused. An expression for the perimeter, well, that would be all the sides added together. So 2r plus 5 plus 2r plus 4r take away 3 plus r. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 r. And then 5, take away, okay, so we've got the 5 there, ordinary 5. Take away 3 is 2, and those are the only 2 ordinary numbers. So it's 9r plus 2, because it's 5, take away 3, which is 2. So there's my expression. First part of the question done. New bit of information is that that must be equal to 65, because that is the perimeter. So 9r plus 2 equals 65, and solve. Deal with the number touching the letter last, so we'll take away 2 from both sides. 2 take away 2 is nothing, so 9r is on its own. 65 take away 2 is 63. Yes, Murphy, I know. I don't want 9r though, I just want the 1. So divide by that number touching the letter, divide by the 9. Split it into 9 pieces. How many 9s in 63? There are 7. So r is equal to 7. Right, form the equation. No, form the expression Form an equation using the new bit of info, solve. Right, perimeter. The bottom edge of this will also be x plus 4, and the left-hand side will also be 2x minus 1. Put them all together. So x plus 4 plus 2x minus 1 plus the other x plus 4 plus the other 2x minus 1 equals x plus 2x is 3x plus another one is 4x plus another 2 is 6x, and then 4, that's ordinary positive 4, take away 1 is 3, plus another 4 is 7, take away another 1 is 6. So 6. 4, take away 1, plus 4, take away another 1. 6x plus 6 is what you're after there for the expression. Then use that bit of information. Apparently I can't speak. 6x plus 6 equals 24. New piece of information there. Take away 6 from both sides to leave 6x on its own. And that now equals 18. And then divide by that number touching the letter. You don't want 6x, you only want 1. So x equals 3. Cool. Right, hopefully you've got the hang of those. So let's move on to this. Right, now's a triangle. There's no sides on this, only angles. So we've got an angle in each corner. Form an equation in terms of x. Well, hang on, it hasn't asked me to do the perimeter. Well, that's because we're not dealing with perimeter now. It's saying an equation. Now, an equation is different to an expression because it has an equals sign in it. Hold on, just got to deal with the dog. Back in a second. Dealt with. Not in that way, in a nice way. Just took away the book that you was eating. All right, form an equation in terms of x. Yeah, so now an expression doesn't have an equals sign. We're going to go straight to an equation this time because there's something about these three angles when I add them together that is built into these types of questions, particularly when we're talking about angles. You know, if I imagine adding together these first of all, so let's just do this. 2x plus x plus 18. Now each of these is an angle inside a triangle, right? So when I add them together, what should they equal? Whilst you're thinking about that, I'm just going to add these up. 2x plus x is 3x, plus another 2x is 5x, and 18 plus 7 is 25, right? So I've got my expression for adding those together, 5x plus 25, but what do they equal when I add them together? Other than this. They are angles in a triangle, so they equal 180 degrees when you add them together. It's built into the question what we're going to do to sort out the, to make an equation. There's my equation. So sometimes, particularly when it isn't perimeter, when it's like angles, it's built in what they should equal. It's built into the question. Right, take away 25 from both sides. So 5x is equal to 155. But I don't want 5x. I only want 1x. So I divide by that number touching the letter. And it is 31. All right, you can always use bus stop for that if you're not sure. I think I've jumped ahead on the question here because it would usually say this as well. Calculate the value of x while x is 31. You solve it. So make an equation using the built-in fact and then solve it. Angles in a triangle add to 180. Okay, you try. Form an equation and then solve it. Pause the video and then unpause when you are done. Okay, form an equation. That means there must be an equal sign in the middle. So we will have all the angles added together. 2x plus 3x plus x plus 30. Well, they equal 2x plus 3x is 5x, plus another one is 6x plus 30. And it's built into the question. It's angles in a triangle. And we know when you add them together, it always equals 180. So there's my equation, right? This time I'll stick to what the question says. Now calculate the value of x. So now I solve it. So take away 30 from both sides. So we have 6x equals 150. Then we don't want 6x. We only want, what am I talking about? Yeah, we don't want 6x. We only want 1x, don't we? So I'm going to divide it by 6, which, oh, is that going to work? 150 divided by 6. It does work. It's 25. 25 degrees is what x is worth. Yeah, like this one was 31 degrees. Okay. Right, so it's built into the question what you're going to do. What about this one, though? Let's try. I'll do another one, then you can have a go. We'll sort of go backwards and forwards like that for a little bit, like we have been. Form an equation. So if it says equation, it must have an equal sign. That's what equation means. In terms of x, so it's going to be x in it. Right, built into this question, it's a four-sided shape. So what do the angles add up to in a four-sided shape? That's your question whilst I'm just adding up all these, the algebra on these. 2x plus 2x plus 3x makes 5x, and 10 plus 50 is 60, right? So I've just simplified it, added them together. But you're right, it's a four-sided shape. The angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360. I've added them up, so they must be equal to 360. Then calculate the value of x. That means solve your equation, right? I'm just going to rewrite it down here. Plus 60 equals 360. Take away the 60 from both sides. So 5x is equal to 300. And then divide by that number touching the letter. We don't want 5x, we only want 1. How many 5s in 300? Well, how many 5s in 30? There would be 6 5s in 30, so there must be 60 5s in 300. 60 degrees is what x is worth. Okay, so in a four-sided shape, we know it adds up to 360, so that's your angle fact you are going to use. Your turn again. Pause the video. Unpause when you're done. Unpaused. Form an equation. An equation has an equal sign. Add up these sides. Now remember, this one down here with the right angle is 90. I said that before. See a right angle on a diagram like this, write in 90 so you don't forget it. So add the sides up. Add the angles up. X plus 50 plus 2x plus 5 plus x, take away 5, plus 90 equals, well, let's sort this out. X plus 2x is 3x, plus another x is 4x. And then 50 plus 5 is 55. Take away 5 is back to 50. Add 90 is 140. Right, now, what do we think it equals? Well, it's a four-sided shape, so the angles add up to 360. So these, when you add them up, must equal 360. There's my equation. Then, calculate the value of x. So let's rewrite it down here. 4x plus 140 equals 360. Take away the 140 from both sides. So 4x equals 220. And then we don't want 4x's, we only want one of them, so split it into 4. Divide by that number touching the letter. And the answer is 55 degrees. Okay, nice big tick. All right, hope you got that one right. If not, watch it again, see what I did. Otherwise, move on to these. 2 more for you to do. They are 4. You can count the sides. Up to you. All right. Pause the video. Unpause when you are done. Well, I've unpaused. Find an equation in terms of x. So let's add up those angles. 3x minus 15. This is the forming bit. We are forming an equation. Plus 2x. 3x plus x is 4x. Plus another 3 makes 7x. Plus another 2 makes 9x. And then start with minus 15. Take away 10. Well, that's minus 25. Add 25. Oh, well, that cancels out, doesn't it? So there's no extra number on the end. But this is a four-sided shape, so they all add up to 360 degrees. So that is my equation. Now calculate the value of x. Well, this one's a bit easier than some of the others now. All I need to do is divide by 9, because I don't want 9x, I only want 1. 36 divided by 9 is 4. So 360 divided by 9 must be 40. Right, degrees. Happy days. Same thing again. Form an equation. It's going to have an equal sign in it, but let's add up all these angles first of all. So x take away 16 plus 2x plus 10 plus x plus 10 plus 2x plus 20, and let's see what it equals. X plus 2x is 3x, plus another one is 4x, plus another 2 is 6x. Then minus 16, or starting in the negatives, add 10, that takes us up to minus 6. Add another 10, that takes us up to past 0 to positive 4. No, what am I talking about? Of course, yes, it does. It does. I don't know. I've gone mad. Sorry. Yes, positive 4. Minus 16 plus 10 is minus 6. Plus another 10 is positive 4. Plus 20 is 24. Oh, happens to the best of us. 6x plus 24. Right, but what does it equal? Well, it's built into the question. Angles in a four-sided shape, a quadrilateral, equal 360. So when I add these angles up, they will equal 360. It's built into the question. If you don't get that, go back and watch it again. So there's my equation. Now calculate the value of x. That means solve it. So I'm just going to rewrite it further down. Let's take away 24 from both sides. So 6x is left on its own. And 360 take away 24 is 336. But I don't want 6x's. I only want one of them. So I do 336 divided by 6, which is, well, it's an awful lot of 6's here, 56. Okay, so there's my answer. The value of x is 56 degrees. Right, I hope you're doing okay on those. How about you adapt what you've just been doing to these two new problems? You can do it, I promise. Form an equation, solve it, and then just find the value of x. Pause the video, unpause when you're done, and do it. Don't skimp this, you've got to do it. Well, as the dog slowly destroys the empty plastic bottle he's got, we shall form some equations and solve. These are angles on a straight line, or rather mine's a straightish line. And we know that when we add up the angles on a straight line, oops, that's 7 there, 7x plus 12, we get 180 degrees, because angles on a straight line equal 180. Now 3x plus 7x, 10x, 10 plus 12 is 22, and that equals 180. Then solve it. So take away 22 from both sides. So 10x equals 158. Now that's 10x. No, I don't want 10x, I only want 1. So we'll divide it by that number touching the letter. Now this is going to be a decimal, but that's fine, it sometimes is. 15.8 degrees. Okay, but did you get the fact that angles on a straight line add to 180? If you don't, you need to get those ones lodged in your head. Very much like this one. This is angles around a point, and they add up to 360. It's a full turn all the way around a point. So make an equation, add up those angles that you've got there. That's 15. Okay, and that will equal 360 because they are 3 angles around a point, making a full turn. Put the x's together, and you get 5x. Put the numbers together, and you get 40 and 20 is 60, plus 15 is 75. So there's my equation. Now calculate the value of x. Take away 75 from both sides. So 5x is on its own. 360 take away 75 is 285. Okay? And what's my next step? It is to, yes, Murphy, it is to divide by that number touching the letter, because I don't want 5x. I only want one of them. So you divide it by 5, which is 57 degrees. Yeah, 15.8, 57. So there's, with these angle ones particularly, it's built into the question what they're going to equal, so you can make an equation, form an equation up. This one's a little bit trickier, and you've got to explain why 4x plus 1 equals 2x plus 12. And that's important. These questions do come up. So just pause the video, have a little think, and maybe solve it if you want to work ahead. Unpause when you're done. Okay, I'm just letting the dog out. He wants to take his bottle into the garden. Apparently. No, he just wants to go outside. Okay, right. Let's go. Why do they equal each other? Well, because these are the sides on a rectangle. And opposite sides in a rectangle are equal, aren't they? You know, top and bottom will be the same length, which is why 4x plus 1 equals 2x plus 12. So you would write in an exam, because opposite sides, hopefully better than I can, of a rectangle are equal. And usually the question would then go on to ask you to find the value of x, or possibly not even give you this big hint at the start. You might get a question like this, and you can actually say straight off that, well, because opposite sides are equal, the 4x plus 1 length must be equal to 2x plus 12. And then you can go on to solve it. Look for the side with fewer x, just like we did right at the start. 4x take away 2x. 2x. 2x take away 2x is nothing, so that leaves that. Take away 1 from both sides. So 2x equals 6. No, not 6. What am I saying? 11. Then divide it by 2 to get x equals 5.5. Okay, so they can come up, although they are slightly more unusual, which is why I'm not doing lots of them. Right, but maybe keeping that in mind, maybe you could use that on this one, possibly. Big hint. Hint, what we just did on that last one, maybe you could use here to find the value of x and calculate the value of x on this one. You know, try and be independent. These are like exam questions. Unpause when you've figured it out. Possibly go back, go back and get a hint maybe, and then come forward again, okay? Unpause when you're done. Good stuff. We are so nearly there with this. Right, firstly, this one is one of these tricky ones where 2 of the sides will be equal. The top side and the bottom side be equal. Now, the left and right are equal as well, but 3x equals 3x isn't going to get you very far. It's a little bit, what we say, trivial. It doesn't go anywhere. Obviously, 3x is equal to 3x, whereas these have different numbers in, which means I can do some different maths here. Now, 2x, there's x on both sides, so find the side with fewer x and remove it. So 4x take away 2x is 2x, and the minus 9 is still there. 2x take away 2x is nothing, so 17 is left on its own. And then add that 9 to both sides to get 26. And then divide it by 2 to get x is 13. So tricky ones these. They don't come up often, as I say, but they do occasionally come up where you sort of go, well, there's not enough information. Well, remember, it's a rectangle. Opposite sides are equal, so write them equal. This one's slightly more common in that the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So you can form an equation by adding together all the angles and making it equal 180. X plus 2x plus 2x is 5x. 22 plus 18 is 40. That equals 180, so there's my equation. So take away 40 from both sides. 40 take away 40 is nothing. And then divide it by that number touching the letter. So divide by 5 to get 1x. And that will be, let's just double check, 28. So x is 28. Okay. Yeah, I know they're a bit tricky. So let's take it back just a little bit. I want you to calculate the value of x and the length of one side of each of these. So we're back to perimeter. Right? I'll do the first one for you, show you what I mean. Now these are regular shapes. That means that all the sides are equal. So all the sides on this one are x plus 4, which means when I form my equation, I'm going to add all these together. So x plus x is 3x. 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12. And it tells me that the perimeter is equal to 27. So there's my equation. Then I take away 12 from both sides to get 15. And then divide it by the 3 to get x is 5. So each side will be equal to 5 plus 4, which equals 9 centimeters. Okay, so I want you to have a go at the rest, please. These are the final task for this bit, and then you can go. Okay, we have unpaused. Now remember, all of the sides are equal. So all of the sides are equal to 2x plus 1. Which means my expression, when I add my 2x, my 2x, my 2x, and my 2x, I get 8x, and the 1 and the 1 and the 1 and the 1 make 4. And it tells me that its perimeter is 52, so I can make my equation. Take away 4 from both sides, 48. Divided by 8 to get x equals 6. But remember, it's asking for the length of one side. Well, if it's 2x plus 1, that means it's 2 lots of 6 plus 1, which is 13 centimeters. Let's change pens. It's getting a bit confusing on there. Right. All the sides are the same. So all the sides are 3x minus 2. Add them all up. Well, 3x plus 3x plus 3x is 9x. Minus 2 minus 2 minus 2 is minus 6. And that equals 93, because it says so in the question. So add 6 to both sides to get 99. Divide by the 9 to get x is 11. But it asks for one side, so that's 3 lots of 11 minus 2. Which is 33 minus 2, which is 31 centimeters. So in these ones, we need to put it back in. Let's get rid of that pause button. Again, 5 sides, and they're all equal. They're all equal to x plus 7. I don't need to write them all out. 5 lots of x plus 7 is 5x plus 35. That's my perimeter. It's equal to 75. So add 35 to both sides to get 110, and then divide it by 5 is, I believe, 22. I don't know if you can hear the dog in the background. He's having a great time with that old plastic bottle. It's like his favourite toy in the whole world. But x is worth 22, which means one side must be worth 29 centimetres. You put it back into the expression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, all of which are 2x plus 5. So 6 lots of 2x plus 5 is 12x plus 30. And I'm told that that equals 102. Solve. So take away 30 from both sides, so 72, and then divide by 12 to get x equals 6. Right, so then we've got each side will be 2 lots of 6 plus 5. Put it back into the expression, which is 12 plus 5, which is 17 centimetres. Now this last one is a bit weirder because there's a minus 2x. But all 4 sides are the same. So let's go for another colour, just make it clearer. Black, I think. 4 sides, all of which are like this. Well, 4 lots of 25 is 100. 4 lots of minus 2 is minus 8. And we're told that that equals 64. So there is my equation. Right, deal with the number on its own first. Deal with the number touching the letter last. So I shall do take away 100 from both sides, which 64 take away 100 is negative 36. And then divide it by minus 8. It's a negative number touching there, so divide it by that and see what you get. Minus 36 divided by minus 8 is 4.5. So x has a value of 4.5. Now this is, mildly trickier, but it's 25 take away 2 lots of 4.5, which is the same as 25 take away 9, which equals 16. So one side is 16. Okay? Right, form your equation, solve it, and then if necessary, put it back into the equation. They are quite tricky, those, but I've given you an on maths task to do, I believe. If I haven't, ignore this bit. I want you to, if I have, to go and do that, please, and then get a photo of the summary score at the end, and then send it to me so I can see you've done it and any writing you've done from this lesson. Yeah. Okay. Well done. Good stuff. Bye bye.